I'm Richard at Coughlan 666. How are you? Yes, you're probably thinking, oh God, you know, he's gone 10 days without a computer, and he's already started drawing his face. No. I want you to know, I always draw on my face. This isn't makeup. This is what I normally is. Normally the rest of it. I'm actually dressed fully like William Wallace. I've got my Scottish top, my kilt on, my dress, and of course, you know, the exact face paint as we know, because I used Braveheart as a reference, and we all know how accurate that is. And you know, why am I dressed like this? Well, you know, the World Cups are nearly here, and you know, I'm English, and I thought I need to get out clause. I need to start sort of preparing for my excuse. Oh, fuck 'em. They lost good. You know. Now, this is a very long video, as you can probably see from the time index, and the reason for it is because, you know, I've been doing a lot of writing because, you know, if you haven't got a computer, use biros and pens. Very primitive. At some point, I'm glad I didn't lose my pen. I'd have been stuck on Morse code. I'd have to, you know, get blood out of my arm and draw on the walls. And they don't like that, you know. Shit, yes, but the reason it's very long, and I know there's people who have already probably posted comments going, fucking hell, how long's this video? I'm watching this fucking thing. Only on YouTube do you get free content, and the more you give people, the more they complain. And nowhere else. Go to a bank. You have £100, sir, wonderful. You have $1 million, oh, for fuck. If you don't want to watch it, well, that's fucking fine, I don't care. Come back and watch it later. Favourite it. Right? Shove it up your fucking arse. It's not important. Right? Yeah, the reason it's a long video is because I've done a lot of writing lately, with, you know, words and everything with a pen, and fucking hand is aching. And then I did some writing and it got worse. And I basically got, well, I'm trying to write a new set, possibly, you know, for the 2011 Edinburgh Festival. And I thought one of the ways to do it would be to basically just make a video in which I ramble to the point of tedium and boredom. And I don't care if you don't fucking watch it. Right? Your loss. Right? I could have uploaded a video of 1/6 the fucking length. But I care. I'm a caring guy. I give a shit. But it's a weird thing, isn't it? Give a shit. I give a shit. Who would, if you went to help someone, here's a turd. Some people have a minute's silence for in honour and in memory of the, we'll have a minute. That's basically, you know, we're going to do nothing and not talk for a minute. That's the least you can do. But you spin plates for a minute or something like that, I don't know. You know, I'm just fucking spitballing. Let me stand up. Now, oh God. Of course, when I get, you know, this is obviously, I'm dressed like a transvestite, because a lot of the content I maybe saying is about women, and what a fucking right laugh they are. And because I don't watch a lot of television. Well, I do watch television. I mean, I was watching. You can't do anything else but watch television. I'm not going to eat the fucking thing. I might try that later. I need a lot of catch up. But I was watching it, and there's this show being advertised that clearly is, you know, sort of like trying to, because I'm under the impression that Sex and the City, which is, I've never watched. I mean, I've never watched a single episode. And I have no idea about the characters' names. I've seen one clip, and I have no right to judge it, but I'm fucking going to. Because that, you know, because, you know, what else am I going to fucking do? And what if Sex in the City, right? First of all, it's all written by homosexuals, right? That's the first thing I've got to say. I've got no basis for that. But as I've learned in the recent weeks, you know, if you're popular enough, you don't need evidence. Now, one thing I've hated about Sex and the City is it's basically these four old slags, let's be honest, tarts, slappers, yeah, skanky, you know, fucking whores, right? And what I don't understand is the idea that this is sold on the principle of it's empowering women. This is a female. The one clip I saw, and I don't know exactly what she, but it was the what's her name? Estelle Getty, Kim Cattrall, and that other one who looks like a, as Jeremy Clarkson says, looks like a boiled horse. Yes, yeah, Sarah Jessica Parker, and 2 other actresses whose names I don't know. I don't even know what they look like. They could be made up of the bits of Joan Rivers that have been collected over the years. But it was a clip, and they were sat down, and it started off as a geezer who clearly was in a position with Kim Cattrall, who is so old that carbon dating doesn't work on her, and she was clearly, putting her fake dentured, fucking steroid stinking fucking mouth round all his muck, and he bolted his load, as was his wish. I'm assuming this is all just vague speculation. But then she looks up and goes, and then it cuts to a scene where they're in a cafe, whatever, a public place with other people who don't need to hear the ramblings of a rancid old tart like that. And she says, so Adam's spunk tastes of almonds, or something like that. Now who starts a conversation like that? Now, I might be wrong if you're fucking... I don't know, it was around those things. It was basically making a comment of... Now, this... Why would anyone care? What are the other women supposed to say to this? Are they supposed to go, really? Have you brought a sample along? Oh, fantastic. Yes, and... macadamia. Yes, possibly, no one... Is there supposed to be... How much... How much cock do you have to swallow? How much jizz do you have to... Before you get to the point when you're actually, assessing the taste and, reacting to it in a way, as if it was a fucking... Like, yeah, I'm getting plimsolls, yeah. This bloke... I mean, the bloke must have looked at her like... Are you okay? Yes, it tastes of almonds. Well, yes, it would do. They're from my nuts. I mean, I don't... This is a bolt of, fucking, cock snot that fucking lived in his balls, right? And it's shot out through his, through his knob, out of his jap's eye, into her mouth. It's billions of tiny fish, right? From his box, manufactured fresh, ready to go, and she's sort of shocked that it tastes vaguely familiar, and this is an issue for her. It bothers her enough. She has to have a conversation. Who? Why? What? I mean, the bloke was... I hope she didn't bring this up. He'd have been... I don't give a shit. Fucking go and brush your teeth, get some mouthwash, and come back, and I might give you a fucking kiss, for Christ's sake. Now... Because men are supposed to be the disgusting perverted ones, and we are, right? But we don't have conversations like this. I don't. I've never turned to a friend of mine and said, John, do you know, last night I discovered that Mildred's vagina tastes exactly like a Battenberg cake. Tesco's. Yeah, discount, yeah. Well, he doesn't want to know. No one... Who cares? What are we supposed to do? Fucking discuss this in a... I mean, I have heard... I've been told, I've read about it, the male load can actually taste of what he ate previously. So, now if I know this, and some wrinkly old fucking slapper like, Kim Cattrall should be able to fucking get this one down. Right? She should be able to fucking... She should know this already. That's it. Taste of almonds. Let's assume he's a gentleman who likes a blowjob. Maybe he heard otherwise. He could have eaten marzipan. It's a bit of a jumping to a conclusion. But what I don't get is... So if you eat pineapples, your jizz tastes of pineapples. If you eat BLTs, it'll taste of BLT. if you eat chicken, your spunk taste of chicken, what does it taste like if prior to spunking you eat spunk? Something for you to do at home. Now, but yes, I just came to the conclusion that I understand that sexual confidence is important, right? Women need to, it's good, It goes too far when you see people like, Jodie Marsh arriving at a fucking film premiere, some fucking piece of shit fucking film. They've had to, not even a Z-list, they've had to invent a new fucking letter for her, right? And she's wearing this outfit that's basically 2 strings of dental floss and a tea bag, and you can see what the fucking bitch had for dinner last night. A gynecologist just buys a copy of The Sun, he doesn't even fucking have to have her in the office, right? And you just think, this woman just needs to... Why doesn't she just wear, like, a normal clothes and walk around with a sign that says, I have no personality or self-esteem? Basically, why don't they just... It would save, whore compensation for lack of character. Because, it's... go the other way here. It's too... people want to ban the burger. I think, the burgers at least leave something to the imagination. You get home, you find out, hey, John, your friend, everyone's a winner, But I'm not against sexy women wearing very little clothing and being visible to me. That's, look at this sensibly and in a mature way. I like a wank as much as the next guy, particularly if the next guy is me. Right? But there does come a point with certain... You just look at and go, why did you bother? Why didn't you just invite us to your house? Right? There's no fucking... I can see everything. Right? And I'm not even looking. Right? And I don't claim to be a feminist. Unless I'm chatting to a fit socialist bird and she's got great tits, in which case I'm right there. You've got, got to get your fucking... you've got to get your rocks off somehow. But I'm an equalitarian. I think everyone should be treated equally, sort of. Maybe, change that on an individual basis. So in that sense, yes, I am a feminist. And I do realise that feminism is a concept that on the YouTube is about as popular as Joseph Fritzl being invited to the Father of the Year Awards. Right? Mainly the reason for this is because YouTube is, as I have found, doing studies. I asked 100 random YouTubers to check their insights on the percentages of male-female. Average 80%. 80% men. 4 men for every 1 woman. Now, obviously, this means the women can have the pick of the fight. Unfortunately, the pick involves, people on YouTube, which, to be honest, is not exactly... It's not exactly an episode of Melrose Place, right? Is that even on anymore? I don't know. Do the Ninja Turtles exist? Fucking magnets, how do they work? But who says fucking magnets? Who gets so emotionally involved in a magnet to say the fucking magnets, right? But their disconnect is, how do they work? Right? You'll never know. You're 50 years old and you wear makeup and call yourselves Insane Clown Posse, and you're asking in a song, Google, perhaps? Did that not? Fucking magnets, how do they work? What was I talking about? Yes. So feminism is not, and this is why I don't tend to talk about it. And it gets a fucking tough rap because people seem to think that when people who are feminists, there was a recently video made by called "Making Sex Work," which I already knew that, and it was made by a group of female YouTubers, fucking whores, basically. Let's be honest. Good-looking, attractive, intelligent, and fact versus religion was there as well. Ooh, don't be mean. I'm not being mean. Well, I am being mean. Yes, yeah. But yeah. So and here's the thing. Right? I'm going to do something that's positive. I have done some controversial things in recent time. I have, called Thunderfoot's mum a cunt. I have told Pat Grondell to go fuck himself with his own fucking head. I have had the gall to stand here and say that, basically atheists are all cunts as well. And I've said some outrageous things, but what I'm about to do might take that, because I'm going to defend Nuclear Night. Now, I realise Nuclear Night is about as popular as Joseph Fritzl's dad being invited to the fucking Father of the Year Awards, because, let's face it, he couldn't have done a good enough job himself either. But even though Nuke is about as fucking welcome round here at times as a fucking fart in a spacesuit, I will defend her in this sense. 100 years ago, right, when, women, were complaining about, oh God, we want equal... basically men were off killing each other in war, and women were at home, safe, watching Countdown or whatever was on back then. I don't know. And they weren't happy with that. They wanted to... They felt that was wrong. And I think the men would have gone, well, fucking right too. And so they went around and they did things like, chucking themselves under the king's horse and fucking killing, animal cruelty and fucking up the Grand National. Do you know how much money would have been lost? Chaining themselves in the Houses of Parliament and, which nowadays would have just resulted in them being egged for a while and being anorexic, hunger strike, which is just eating disorders nowadays. They just manipulate your fucking language, right? But at the time, these women were seen as a fucking nuisance. And women at the time, a lot of women at the time, I was there, I've done the research. A lot of women at the time would you just all sod off, And this was proper feminism. This was like the Spice Girls, right? Who are to feminism what Land Rovers are to the fucking long jump. I mean, fucking Spice Girls, sporty, no tits, scary, annoying bitch, baby, peanut, babe, ginger, big tits anyway, doesn't fucking matter, and posh, she fucking married David Beckham and he looks like an episode of Bryce Edward Visited next to her. But there was proper feminism when women women had balls, and men fucking caved in. We did it, because men, you got to, and the women in this making sex on this video, these women, they were sort of, saying that we don't need it. No, girls. Let me tell you something. Let me let you in on a secret, because all men, we all know that men, are all secretly in contact with. We understand everything, because men know how to work together in spite of their differences. Fucking polyredded. Women don't know how to do this. Women just, how much fucking time do you see videos of women bitching at each other on YouTube? Right? They make up 20%, right? For fuck's sake, girls, it doesn't matter, right? I know some of you don't like the fact that there are women on here who, have a very high, what I call sticky keyboard factor. It's not their fucking fault, right? And it's not your fault if you've, been born with no tits and you've got a face like a fucking welder's bench. That's not your fault either, right? But don't blame people for being sexy. I can't help it. But these women say, hey, people go, feminism is dead. No. Because girls, basically, men still, are in control of, most shit around here. Because, even though mitochondrial Eve appeared several thousand years before mitochondrial Adam, so we gave you a head start. We evolved at the same speed. You had every opportunity and you didn't get your fucking shit together, right? I'm kidding, of course, but the fact is, you don't know what men are like. In general, men are, particularly men in power, they're bastards. And they don't give a shit. And occasionally, even the most seemingly dignified and erudite of gentlemen will suddenly start to abuse his position. And girls, at times like that, you're going to find yourself in a position where you are, as a female, as a non-male woman of the opposite sex, no cock, you are finding yourself in a weakened position. And fuck your fucking European courts at that point. Chuck your fucking, your equal rights bills and your fucking fuck all that shit. Right? You don't need that at that point. You can be as rational and reasonable and it don't matter, because men are in charge of that shit too. Do you know what you need at a time like that? Do you know what you need when you're in that position and you could find yourself in it? You need a fucking pit bull in a frock. Right? You need Satan with a pair of tits to walk in there and scare men shitless. And Nuclear Night does that wonderfully. I've seen her do it on YouTube countless times. She says things that are a bit, a thousandth 1,000 times less offensive than the nicest things I've ever said. And I've seen men's bollocks shrivel up because they've just been mugged off by a girl. And they don't like it. Yes, I understand. Yeah, I don't agree on everything, but who cares, for fuck's sake, you know? If we all agreed with each other on everything, we wouldn't be here, you know? And, pornography is fucking, and I love it. I love it. It's great. Naked, sexy people having naked, sexy fun, and me sitting there watching it with them not knowing. It's fabulous, right? And it's the third biggest industry in the world. Third. It's the only genre that has its own industry. Only oil and music make more money every year than pornography, and the oil's running out. And thanks to BP, that's going to happen a hell of a lot quicker. Right? Do you think we'll have wars for porn next? Yeah. And I've just got suddenly Iraq war porno names going through my head. Whore and terror, weapons of mass destruction. Go off in 45 minutes. Boner Blair sexing up the dossier. So, you can't do it with American names. George W. Bush, it's just the same. Joe Lesbian. Levi Johnson. You can't do it. But then that's probably because America is responsible for 90% of the world's pornography. Yes, good Christian nation. In America, right? And I know, I've checked this, I've been there, I've done it. There is a pornographic movie, right, finished every 37 minutes. Every 37 minutes. I can't keep up. The top 3 websites, the top 3 web pages, countries with the most pornographic web pages, right? Number 3 and 2 are Denmark and Germany, with about 12,000 each. Right? America's number 1 with 265,000. Right? How do you fucking find the time, you people? Jesus Christ! No, that's the thing. There's just never enough of it. It's produced at a rate, and the reason, but the thing is, right, even though we will defend, women will defend the right to, for people to have sex on film, and that's great, right? I'm not doing it, well, not publicly, but, or at least not when I'm aware, but here's the thing. Nobody should want to do porn movies. They are horrid. It's a horrid business to be in, and as a man who has done lots of research, and I've never been in one, right? I've never acted in one, right? And I was enjoying it the whole time. As a man, there are just, I know the female element of it. I get the female. I get why it's degrading. I mean, it's kind of a fucking sad state of affairs when the only job in the world where women can make like for like up to 5 times as much as the men is when basically they have to be naked and fucked by a stranger. Whose name is Sir Lances a lot, and her name is fucking Titney Spheres or something. I could see why that would be. It's a shame that it's not involving, something to do with, I don't know, science or stuff, But it's a horrid industry to work in. You have to be, no one should choose to do it. It's not a lot of fun. Men always go, oh, it'd be great, I'd do it. Yeah, well, fucking do it. It's easy. There's always. When I used to do acting, I used to get the Stage magazine, most popular industry, acting industry, porn everywhere. Right? You do porn, 8 pages of porn. Men don't do it. Men don't want to be in porn. Right? You don't want to do it because it's not as fun as it looks. Right? And it's particularly, and the stunt cock, right? The idea that you have to work your fucking nuts off, literally, for 6 hours, and then at the end, because you can't deliver the goods, you have to get another man in to ejaculate for you. And you have to pay him like 30% if you wage check. Can you think of anything more fucking demoralising for a man to go through? You go home, I can't even fucking jizz anymore, right? You can't jizz in your pants, right? It's not a fucking fun industry, it's horrid. It's depressing, it's middle, and it does need regulation. It does need more regulation, because I know that women are, there's lots of women who make a living from it, and fair play to them. I'm grateful, right? I've contributed, but at the end of the day, they're all, it's fucking miserable. I've never met one with any sense of fucking humanity, but But at the end of the day, some people just end up going there. It's a place for the dispossessed, and who are we to argue? And if it didn't exist in an industry, it would exist in amateur form on the internet. We'd have YouTube but with pornography, which is basically, at times, it's YouTube, right? And so you've got to have that regulation. It's a bit like wrestling in that sense, you know. We watch wrestling. I mean, I don't watch wrestling. I don't wank over wrestling anymore, right? I got out of that. Wouldn't that be terrible if you got hypnotised and you watched wrestling and you wanking and you watched pornography and you're like, come on, elbow drop. It wouldn't be. But it's like it looks fun. It looks great. It looks like a lot of and all the people physically, you know, and they're marketed and sold and exploited as. You know, this is what looking good is. You know, having, you know, muscles the size of a fucking midget's head and tits bigger than your own fucking, you know, your own mother's. You know, this is what it's sold at. It's the same concept, but it's depressing as fuck. You know, wrestlers die at an hourly rate now. They're all miserable. No one would want to do this. You have to be depressed and fucking damaged as hell. You know, but it's fun to watch. Where do you draw the line? You know. So yeah, you know, don't have a go at feminism, you know, because there'll come a time when you need them. You might not fucking believe it, but you'll need them, right? Because where was I talking about? Sex in the City. Yes, these fucking. It's now had 2 movies. It's had. I don't know what the fuck it's about. It just seems to be about a bunch of 50-year-old fucking, you know, wrinkly-assed fucking. In their last leggings, getting some in before their arse collapses and turns into a little oblong in their trousers, and their tits finally go sagging to the point where it's just like 2 Shar-Pei puppy ears, and their wrinkles are so point they've gone beyond the 7 signs of oil of Olay aging to the 8th dimension, and you know, and basically their vagina will end up looking like a ripped out fireplace. But this, or maybe they just want a kid and they want someone to come in, blow his beans up there, and to just fucking, you know, stick one in their oven before the gas runs out. You know, please. Stop me if I'm being too, you know, technical or scientific here. But what's empowering about being disgusting? You know, I mean, I understand that. I'm the least powerful person on this planet. There are fucking orphans in Rwanda who were born yesterday, who have more influence and power. You know, it's not a. I don't get that, right? You know, certainly empowering us of sexual freedom. That's great. That's brilliant. It works, right? But being and now they've got this one. It's called Cougar Season, which has got 3 other actresses. Again, one of them is Courtney Cox, who I've never found attractive. She looks like she just looks like a fucking. She's like sucking on a lemon. I find her about as appealing as a Brillo pad covered in horse shit. And 2 other actresses, who again I have no idea. They're probably the 2 from the other show. But it's called Cougars, and it's basically the same fucking thing, because these women are now, you know. And now getting in their 50s, and now there's going to be a huge fucking spate of TV shows dedicated to octogenarian fucking whores, right? And we're supposed to sit here and consider that. I'm supposed to sit here and go, yes, this is what? But this is feminism of the day, is it? This is how we're going. It's not fucking Jermaine Greer, or it's not anything creative. No, it's like, girls, you are free to be a complete and utter whore. And sit around talking about your partner's sexual effluvia flavour as if it's some fucking, you know, Ben and Jerry's special. And I'm sitting here thinking, no, they don't do it the other way round. When you're going to get, you know, go the full hog if it's empowering. If it's empowering, go the full fucking, do it with, you know, men. Do it. You know, I want to see Wilford Brimley, Brian Dennehy, and Ian McKellen in Grandfather's Clock. You know, Viagra Road Trip or something like that. Go for the full one. You know, get Judi Dench, Helen Mirren, Joanna Lumley, and Barbara Bush, and just call it, you know, the 4 wizard sleeved cunted women, or, you know, Bucket Biff and Clown Pocket. Go into, you know, if that's, you know, what it is, basically, you know. But no, you wouldn't do that. You're not going to have these fucking. It's not empowering to me. You know. What I think empowers people is when they just are. Well, they don't tell people what fucking empowerment is. You know, I mean, people have a go at Lacey Green. I'm going to defend Lacey Green. And yes, I'm going to defend Lacey Green's tits specifically. I've done this before. It's one of my most viewed videos. It's got nothing to do with the thumbnail at all. I think it had about 330,000 views. And I defend it because it fucking pisses me off. When, yes, okay, you can see a distinct crease and, emanating from the centre of her jumper, right? Oh my God, how fucking disgusting is this? Who would have thought on the internet this could have been, of all places? I once saw a midget dressed as a stormtrooper doing a shit on an 18-year-old fucking amputee woman, right? And this wasn't even on a porn site, this was Nickelodeon channel. And I'm supposed to be shocked at the fact that I can see an attractive girl's bosom. I'm supposed to sit here and go, well, I'm not going to fucking take it. And men on here are just so full of shit. 95% of the men on here, if you had tits, you'd fucking have them out in every video. No one has to go hot for words. She might as well be fucking a donkey in most of her videos. Putting it under the guise of etymology. Yeah, if anyone's ever a word from her fucking videos, other than fucking hell, that's it. But people go, oh, her bosom, her breasts distract from the argument. And you know what? Don't talk about them. If you talk about them, you're distracting from the fucking argument. Right? For fucking, turn the computer screen round, lower her voice so she sounds like fucking Barry White or something, and listen to the words. Right? If that's what she's doing, and I don't think it is, right? Because quite frankly, I can see Lacey Green's tits from here and my computer's broken. Right? Out the window there with Big Jerry and Thunderfoot's ego, just there. Particularly when someone like TJ. I mean, me and TJ are fine nowadays, right? But the Amazing Atheist is a guy who once, encouraged the exploitation of the death of Tony 48219 and his murdering of another woman for the purposes of fucking poning Venom Fan X for a video. I don't think he's in a position to talk about exploitation. Yeah. And bollocks, who cares? So what? You can see her tits. So can everyone else who actually talks to her in real life. I'm sure she's managed to get by. Why don't for the sake, Lacey, for the sake of debate and rational discussion, please get your tits cut off. Because the men on here are just outraged. They're so, oh my God, I can see her clavage. How can I possibly carry on? I'll have to go and watch a video. Where am I going? Let's go to, here we go. Gay anal donkeys having sex with dwarves covered in batter. It's the internet, right? This is a place where human perversions come to fucking live because you can do it anonymously, right? Don't have a go at a woman because you can see her tits. Who cares? Right? If men had any fucking stuff, I mean, come on, I'm 30 years old. I can fucking control myself for a bit, And if you're a guy who can't watch your videos without using any self-control, then fucking fair play to you. I wish I was back in that position. Right? Because the idea of self-control is just not natural when you're 12 years old. You think, why would you want to stop this from happening? Because when you start, you go, this is the best thing ever. I never knew about this. You'd get up 4 hours early on a school day to get fucking 5 or 6 in, right? It was just, and you didn't need much, If a fucking mosquito bit your elbow, you fucking got one out of it, And you didn't want to control it. And you thought, this is brilliant. Does it ever stop? Does the fun ever? No, it doesn't. Right? However, unfortunately, you have to fucking to keep it under control, but particularly in circumstances like funerals or specifically funerals. Right? But yeah, cougar season. This is going to be the thing. There's going to be just basically all the fucking actresses who 15 years ago were in sitcoms as sexy 20-somethings are now going to come back as, we call it granny shagging over here. We're a lot more, it's not cougar. It doesn't have the same ring to it, Leopard smashing or, twadge redecorating. And I don't... Who wants to see that, Yes, girls, you can be whores. We know this. Men have known this for years. Women waste their time fucking making themselves look good. Heterosexual men go to prison with other men, no women around, and within the hour they are fucking other men in the arse in the shower. That's how slow our standards are. You don't need to try. Go out covered in fucking, covered in, cow manure with a dead cat on your head. You know, you can have a, doesn't matter, you can have a face like a fucking butcher's shop window. It's irrelevant. You know, you can have a colostomy bag round your fucking neck. You can be doused in piss, right? It doesn't matter, right? As the clock gets closer to home time, he will fucking cave in. Yeah. It doesn't, you know, men it's like, men go through fucking beauty magazines and go, oh no, suddenly they're the fucking fussiest bastards. Oh look, her elbows are a little bit nibbly. Her eyelashes are a tad on the thick side for me. I don't like the ankle shape she is. You know, most men have had, you know, most men have ended up at some point having sex with someone they found in a fucking bin at 3 in the morning, who may have been dead and possibly of any gender. It didn't matter. You know, we're animals. You know, but it's okay, yeah, as long as it's all in good fun. But I think they should do it the other way. But see, you've got Cougar. Now, I want to see them do this with... I don't want granny shagging. Brokeback Mountain, the most boring fucking film ever made. It was dreadful. It was like having Flu and Emmy at the same time, whilst being on dope. And you watched it, and it's like, if that was a man and a woman, that would have been the most forgettable, uninteresting fucking film ever. Oh no, because it's two fucking arsehole bandits. Now it's Academy Award. Oh my god, he deserves an Oscar. He kissed a man. How Hollywood is that? Right? But... it's two gay guys, this shouldn't be shocking. Right? We should have moved past this now. We should be on to other perversions and sexual deviance. We should be trying to fucking help them. Right? Because there's people you've got to feel sorry for. You know, for example, I'm sure you recently, there was a documentary recently, I'm sure many of you are aware of this, of a story of a guy who is a cannibal who was born in Germany. Yes, that is, but saying that, I've been to Germany, and if you've ever had the food, I'd fucking consider it, right? But he's a German cannibal, right? Not exactly a catch, right? And it's not easy if you're a cannibal, I'm sure, going through your life with a desire to eat people, and you know, and that's going to be a problem at any point, you know. And what this guy did, but this guy was different. This guy, possibly, this guy could be a pioneer, because he showed that cannibalism can be, you know, rational and moderate. What did he do? He went on the internet. The only place where you could probably find another person who was willing to be eaten by a complete German stranger who wanted to fucking chew on his flesh, you know, just for the hell of it. And he found a guy who wanted to be eaten. And the guy went to see him, and he was eaten, and this guy, this cannibal, got arrested. And I think that's fucking outrageous. You see, it makes sense to me that if people are born who are cannibals, and they are, it makes sense that nature would compensate by making people who were born who wanted to be eaten by cannibals. Now, I feel sorry for these people. It's a fetish that can only be done once, right? But it's not necessarily cannibalism in itself. Yes, it's not great. It's not ideal. Yes, you'd much prefer they had some foot fetish. But the problem is, if they're going to exist, I'd rather they eat the people who want to be eaten. And why should you not have the fucking right to choose to be eaten by anyone, even a German? Why shouldn't you? Why should that be? You know, what's wrong with cannibalism if they only ever eat people who want to be eaten? You know? What's wrong with that? I think, you know, we're sat here still fucking arguing about homos getting married. I want to be cannibalism rights, right? My right to be eaten, right? Cannibalism is not a choice, right? You know, that's just me. I want to see that love story. I want to see that fucking Brokeback Mountain, you know, Dinner for One. You know, the romantic tale. Oh, where did he find this fucker? Did he Google people who want to be eaten by cannibals? .com, you know. Is there a chat forum for that? There probably is. Huh? There's one for everything fucking else on here. But, you know, you do it with all of them. Because, you know, most sexual deviances, you know, they're fucking weird. Like, obviously, that's why they're deviances. You know, but most of us have got one little thing that's fucking, you know, I've got a Cliff Richard calendar. You know, 3 of them. Right? Don't laugh. And I've got the best. I've got 3 Savage Garden albums and the best of Wham. Fuck you, right? It's good. Now, my point is, right, incest is another one. Incest, you know, obviously between family members. Obviously, you can't have it any other way. Really, it's kind of difficult. Right? Now, the thing is, you never get a situation where there's like a brother and a sister, and the brother fancies the sister, and she's not interested. I mean, you never get that. They always just so happen to be fucking both into it, which is good. I mean, you wouldn't want to try it. You wouldn't want to experiment. That would be an awkward Christmas dinner. Dave, what have you got your sister? I've got a one-way ticket to Duntville and a pregnancy test. I'm off. Never mind. But they're fucking... Who cares? If they're both adults, yes, if they have kids, it'll probably be born without any bones and 3 arseholes on its face, and it'll have a brain the size of a freeze-dried hamster shit. But the point is, have you seen Maury Povich? Right? These are fucking biologically fucking, genetically fucking... These are people who aren't related. I know they're brothers and sisters, but they're not related. I love Maury Povich. He's done more to destroy the fucking progression of black people within American society than any amount of fucking KKK propaganda. It's great, man. But you've seen Jerry Springer. I've watched Jeremy Kyle's show. Look at how fucking normal people. Who cares? Should a kid not have the right to live just because its parents are related and it's got 15 penises inwardly pointing in its fucking eyeballs? Should it? I think so. It's a person, it has rights. It shouldn't do, but it's like any of those things, like scatology, which is much more, sounds much more sophisticated and sounds a hell of a lot more scientific than it is. But you wouldn't want to try that on the you'd have to know. You couldn't handle it. Imagine you're there, there's a Japanese girl squatting over your head. They're always Japanese, I've seen it, right? I've seen the internet, right? They obviously poo a lot more, I don't know. Maybe they've got like some sort of faster system. But she just launches this giant fucking Omar in a steaming G.I. Joe on your head, and you suddenly realise, oh, this is a bit disgusting. What do you say? You can't just walk out and go, sorry, I can't carry on. And it happened to me once, don't fucking let it happen again. And necrophilia. What's wrong with that? Who's the victim? Right? Obviously, the people who catch them. But I find it flattering if someone had sex with my dead body. I thought, look at that, I'm dead, and I've still got it. Right? And how do you know you're not? How do you know you're not into that? How many times have you been left alone in a room with a dead body? Let alone a fit one. You don't know. You could be. You never get an incestuous orphan, do you? You never get an only child who's into that, right? You never. All I'm saying is, let's move on. Right? I want incestuous paedophilic cannibalism to be legalised in marriage, and polygamous if need be. Anyone fucking a donkey, you can't fucking animals is illegal, but what if the animals are into it? Should we not assume that animals can be a little, What if it's some of them, I mean, I used to have a theory that, men who have sex with animals do so because they're crap and they don't want to be told or see the look of disappointment on the face afterwards. And and there's evidence to back this up. No one has ever sexually molested a parrot, and they're the only animals that could fucking tell you. Think about it, right? But we've got all the... Human beings are fucking weird, horrid people, and we don't fucking ask to be this way. Do you think this is why I can't believe in things like fate and determinism. Look, do you think this was planned? Me sat here on a hot Saturday afternoon, wearing a fucking tartan dress, shouting at a camera about the people, everyone's right to fuck their sister and a pig, right? That's a fucking awkward threesome, isn't it? Where would you start with that one? Suppose you'd have to fucking have some ground rules at first, But yeah, that would be a... So I've just got this fucking... the thought went through my head, like, what sort of pig is it? And it doesn't matter, You want your granddad to shit in your mouth? Well, he hasn't eaten corn, I've got a fucking allergy, The problem with all these things, like the sex industry, and the reason there's so many problems with it, is it is impossible to ever stop making it. There's going to come a point when we don't need any more films, about Shrek. Right? This is going to be Shrek is not going to be, in its own industry. We don't need any more police academies, RoboCops, fucking, God knows what else. American Pie, God, that was dreadful films, you know. I don't need these films, right? I don't need any more fucking Freddy and Jason films. Freddy, I saw Nightmare on Elm Street, that was fucked up, I fucking didn't like that. Freddy looked like a proper Burns victim, and it was scarier. I fucking hated that. Right? Saying that, I suppose if you're a Burns victim at this moment in time, at this point in the time, you can get a free fucking fancy dress costume. You know, every cloud. But we were put here against our will, and we're the only ones here. We're in this. People go on about the cosmic ballet and the fucking universe is amazing. Isn't it great? Oh, look at all these. Look at there's a planet here called you know, it's named after some fucking sandwich spread called Omega something or other. It's fucking 300 billion fucking light years across, and it would take you 400,000 million fucking lifetimes to fly around it in a fucking... I don't care! Why are you wasting time telling me this? The universe might as well end 2 feet behind Mars. There's nothing out of it. Yes, it looks pretty lovely. Yes, it's great. Yes, it's something to look at. Isn't that fucking wonderful? Look, billions of planets with fuck all on them. Isn't this great? I don't want to sound ignorant. I just don't care. You know? We're here, and I think we're here, you know, we're on our own. We're the only ones. We've been left here. You know, you've woken up in a fucking house, in a mansion that someone else's. You don't. There's other animals around, right? You don't fucking know. We're the only ones here who fucking know anything about anything. Right? If we die, no fucking baboon is gonna keep records of shit. They're useless. Right? You know, there's no point in animals are here to be put in zoos, so for us to make TV shows about them and look at them and laugh at how funny they are. Right? You know, I'm into animal rights. Don't get me wrong. Right? I choose to fucking help animals, you know, avoid harm by not looking after them. I'm incapable. Look, I get through 7 laptops a year, for God's sake. You know. I threw one of them out the window because I couldn't find the fucking space key for half an hour. Right? And then I realised I wasn't looking at my laptop, it was a book, right? I shouldn't be left in charge of shit, so that's why, you know, I don't have children, you know. I have parties of children. No, I don't want to, you know. We're fucking here. We're the only ones here. And the odds are nothing else is here. And I think the fact that we believe in all these different ideas and concepts that are invisible is because ultimately we need to do that to figure out whether it's just us or not. And if it is just us, then ultimately one day it will dawn on us. We've just spent the last couple of billion years fucking playing a practical joke on ourselves. We have been tricking ourselves into believing that all of this shit meant something else other than... You know, what the heck? You know, we're just a fucking freak accident. And we're here and we're in control. We're in a one-horse race running against ourselves. With the only fucking competitors. All we've got to do is finish. We have to win, surely. It's like going in a boxing match. You're the only fucking person. There's no opponent. And you've just got to last the time. Don't punch yourself in the face. That would be stupid. You can't fuck that up, surely. But we do. We fuck it up constantly, and I'm glad I'm going to be dead before the fucking sun supernovas and climate change finally kills us all. And it's a shame I'm not going to get to see the look on all the people who say, climate change ain't real. Okay, it's easy for you to say you're fat, ugly, 40 years old and not going to have any kids. It's not, you know. And I love the people who fucking say that climate change. They say, oh, it's only 80% chance. If there was an 80% chance, your bollocks were going to explode at the end of the week, unless you washed them for 45 minutes a day with a specific sponge at water temperature and 3 different types of soap. Would you do it, or would you just take the 20% chance that your bollocks won't explode? Right, exactly. Shut up. Yeah, who cares? It's a fucking planet. Yeah, you know, the planet is fucked. Right? But you know what? You're going to die, and I think you'd prefer it if you could pause it for just stop for keep it going, keep it going so you can figure out something else, right? Because this is all it is. We don't need to worry. There's no need to be fearful, you know. And I've spent the last few weeks talking about people who are, who don't believe in certain moderate religions, particularly within there's no moderates. You know why there's no moderates? Because you don't fucking think there are any. If you don't fucking believe or fucking think that something is able to occur, you cannot fucking for 1 minute think that it's ever going to happen. Right? You don't think a boundary can be crossed or breached in any way. It never will. You have to be willing to do that. You know, I've had people tell me, Islam is not a pick and choose religion. And where in the Bible does it say that, by the way, just so you know, lots of love, God, you can fucking go through this, find what you like and apply it. No! right? There's a reason, right? It's like this, right? When Christianity was there, and it was mental, and it was fucking stupid and fucked up, and then they moved, and the human nature to survive kicks in, and the sort of advancement overtakes your need for your own little beliefs. You're willing to compromise, because we've all got a price, right? And so we sit there and go, well, we'll get rid of this, and this, and we'll keep this. And it will keep going. And then 500 years after Christianity buggered off, another one popped up that was virtually identical. And guess what? It's going to do the same bloody thing. And if you don't believe that, you don't believe in evolution at all, because everything evolves. Ideas, concepts, society, finances, economics, pubic hair, everything fucking evolves. Everything changes, right? And there's no reason to believe that nothing can change. Everything is how it is. And, I'm going to quote to you a man who said it best. Right? His name was Willy Wonka. He owned a chocolate factory. We've all seen the documentary. Some of us have even read the true story on book. He doesn't own it anymore. Obviously, that was he gave the lease over to a guy called Charlie Bucket, who's now a transsexual. Right? And Oompa Loompas are all gay. That's why there's no women. Right? Fucking weird. Clever bastards. Right? But, the fact is, he said it best, and he said, licking the wallpaper with fruit on it. This is a man you want to trust, man. Gene Wilders said, we are the music makers, and we are the dreamers of dreams. Right? And I had a dream the other night. Right? It involved me, and a giraffe called Barry, going to the moon on a platinum-shaped dildo, and listening to the best of Kenny Everett played in Spanish, whilst 27 penguins with ukuleles were flying over our heads, and they were telling us exactly what they thought of us. This is what we do. It only fucking stops when you want it to. No one else is here telling you. If you give up, fine. It'll happen, and I guarantee you. People say I guarantee you, Scientology even has moderates. They sit there and they fucking argue about, they believe that, that the Xenu dropped all these, freeze-dried fucking souls from aliens into all the volcanoes. I bet there's some people who think, well, not all the volcanoes, some of them, yes, but, and when you become your practicing thetan, you emit engrams by excreting waste, right? Vomiting, urination, pooing and ripping one out, right? But I bet there's people who fucking think, well, yeah, pooing and pissing, but not puking and farting. And then there's the puking and farting people who do believe that. And they believe that when you reach the highest level of thinking, you become immortal. However, bear in mind Tom Cruise is that far away. And as soon as he reaches it, they're going to start thinking, bugger, we didn't think anyone would make it. It's not immortal as such, it's just a long time. It's not, and even if it's not a long time, it's basically, it's through other forms of, non-existent fucking, they're gonna do it, don't fucking worry. They're all gonna be there, everyone's gonna change eventually, because we have to. And I suppose the moral of this story is, always wear a condom. Not always, actually, that's a stupid idea. Wouldn't make any sense. And you're not always, unless you're always having sex. But then how would you put it on? You'd have to come up with some sort, maybe one could swallow it, and I don't know, right? Always, I'm extra cautious. I need to wear a condom, I don't have sex. I'll be laughing in the end, on my own. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure shouting at you. If you haven't enjoyed this, couldn't give a shit, quite frankly. Just, go away and think about what you've done. Not all of it, I mean, not from since you were born, Just, some of it. And I want to make this clear, because my 2-year anniversary is coming up on YouTube, obviously. And I hate this place sometimes, and I've come to the conclusion that you really don't have many people on here who you can trust or put your admiration or your respect to. You have to fucking face it. A lot of acquaintances, not many friends. Lots of arse kissers, and that's great if you're Prof MTH, but it's not for me, right? But you want to listen to that, that's fine. But, you know, Thunderfoot made a video a little while ago called The Internet Where Religions Come to Die. Yes, and where new ones are found and born. The nucleus of all of them is here, waiting. And I wouldn't give this up for the world. This place is fucking stupid. It's completely nonsensical. If you wrote everything down that happened on here and gave it to Vince McMahon, he would reject it on the basis that it wasn't realistic enough. And who would want to fucking live... Who wouldn't want to live in an atmosphere where wrestling actually became something that was actually stupid because it wasn't as close to reality? And I leave you with a quote from some cunt. Oh God, I've got to find someone to quote. I leave you with the words, the immortal words of JC, Jeremy Clarkson. And he said, "Having seen Emmanuel in Bangkok, I thought I knew what a massage would be like. Well, it isn't. And I don't think any of us can disagree." This is... been Richard the Dick Coughlan, 666, saying, good night, may God bless. I'll be back on Wednesday. That's Wednesday. That's the day after Tuesday, and Monday, and it's after every day, really. But I'll be back then. And until then, just, you know, get ready. Get the bunting out. Tell Thunderfoot and Condell I'm coming back. The honeymoon's over. Tell all the Muslims their apologist from atheism is here. And above all else, remember this, right? You do not ever treat me with any more respect than you would a fucking stray dog or a piece of toast, because ultimately, if you do, I might end up going that way forward. We are here and we're going to win, remember. Move forward. Unless you're in front of a wall, that would be a problem. I'm going to go now. I'm going to go take this dress off, because this is just... it's fucking weird, really. Just I have to go for the suspenders, right? Freedom! Freedom! Fucking freedom. Fucking freedom of speech. Why do people who go on about freedom of speech often have nothing of value to say? Can't really sort of, you know, saying that, based on what I've just said, probably could have gone with that one. Oh, look, a penny. No, that's a piece of shit. God almighty. I need to get a new mattress. This isn't even my house. Why the fuck am I... Who is... Why is there a body here? Covered in sick again. That's not a body. Oh, no, it is. Yes, it is. Oh, well. Oh, I am necrophiliac. Thought I'd have to get married to find that out. Oh, I left the fucking camera on again. Really got to stop doing this and uploading it afterwards. Why am I talking about this? It's not happened. We are the dreamers of dreams.